Love it. Love it. Good timing.
Can we shut this barn?
No.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Look how bright that is.
All right, shut it.
It's a rough start to the work week.
Put it on. Put the plant bug on the thing.
Test it.
No. Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton.
You got a title on this? The guy here.
What?
You got a title and stuff on it.
Yeah. This was Faith First Trust.
Behind the scenes right here for you guys.
And I'm Taylor Patton.
Perfect. All right, here we go. Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton. Welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you to get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to episode number 38, Faith versus Trust. We're going to break down what trust is, what faith is, how they're the same, how they're different, what we're good at, what we're not good at, some ways that we think we could trust or have more faith, and some ways by psychologists that they also say that you can have better trust in people. So without further ado, let's go to the challenge from last week.
Which was to be more passionate about trying to help people. I'm chilling. I think I did well at it. Like patience is very key, as we talked about last week, when it comes to helping people. And people only can be helped if they want to be helped. Like, we had a kid in an issue at work, and he shut down for over 3.5 hours before even talking or communicating. We just sat there and we did relentlessly, like, kept trying different things, different tactics, getting him to open up, work, and then so it's just patience.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if I was really passionate about helping people, but I did help people, especially like the kids at school. It made me kind of just angry about not listening and doing their work. But I still said the directions again. I still tried to make sure that they were doing what they're supposed to be doing, even though it'd be a lot easier to just say, figure it out on your own, you didn't listen. Because I want them to be successful, so I was trying to, I guess, cut them the slack. And I also just thinking about, like, my fiance and I's relationship, how we've been trying to get a honeymoon planned and some other stuff done with the wedding. So being more passionate about her needs, because I can be a pretty selfish person. So trying to think about, like, hey, there's two people that I got to think about, not just one. So give her a little bit more of attention, make sure that her needs are catered to, trying to get stuff done. So I don't know if I was, like I said, passionate about helping people, but I definitely realized that I needed to be more open to helping people and not doing my own schedule, which I was doing really well at. And then I kind of went back into a little, I guess, cave of my own, trying to get stuff done. I get stressed. The best thing for me is to get stuff done. And I got everything I needed to get done. We actually got it done yesterday. I can't believe we actually got it done. So feeling a lot better about where things are at now.
I would say also, going back, I would say passion is one word, but like I was more passionate about like
Putting
developing
the
my
effort in. Yeah.
developing my toolbox. So when other kids come along and they shut down,
Yeah.
about like what works, what doesn't.
Yeah, which I think
more questions to ask.
I think that's a good start no matter what. So hope you guys did well on the challenge as well. Quote of the week this week is by Bob Harper. I'm actually going to tweak a couple words in it to make it more meaningful and of value to you guys. So it says, believe in yourself, trust the process, and change. And he says change forever, but I'm going to say change for the better. To get that 1% better. So one more time here by Bob Harper. Believe in yourself and change for the better. Once again, that's up on the Instagram on the Kitchen Table Pod. Make sure you guys follow that, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I love this quote because it literally goes exact what we're talking about. You got to believe or have that faith in yourself that you're doing the right thing. You got to trust that the process is you're again on the right track, and you're building that. You're doing some sort of process that's building, building the stone, I think is what they say. Stacking the bricks, another one, and then change, and not change forever because it changes for the better. Because if you change for the better, then you know that trust in yourself or believing in yourself, that trust in the process is paying off. And I think that makes a huge difference. Maybe not on the day-to-day, but it makes a huge difference if you look back 6 months or whatever. Let's say you're in a training cycle, so that might be 9 to 13 weeks. When you look back on that training cycle, hopefully you can see that you got 1% better. Even if it's not 1% better every day, it could be 0.1% better every day, months or 6 weeks, whatever it is, you're a lot better off as well. I just kind of came across that quote, and I thought it was great for this episode.
Learn a lot. Always force yourself to level up.
Yeah, and I like the trust. Back to the working out example, trust in the process. I'm reading a book that's called, my fiance gave it to me. It's called Why We Get Sick, and we're talking about in the book about how we get sick because we change our body so much that we're not used to it. So like back in the day, they didn't have all this medicine, right? They just lived with it. They don't take ibuprofen for headaches. They just live with it. And now the first thing we say is take 2 ibuprofen and let me know in the morning how you feel. All right? That just masks the pain or the symptoms. It doesn't solve the problem. The best thing to do is to actually get the disease. Similar to like COVID, the best thing to do is to get COVID. Because then you have the natural immunity. It really is. I mean, obviously, if you have a health,
better today, go get COVID.
If you have, it will make you better because, and disease, like getting a disease, is a form of weakness. I shouldn't say disease. I should say having some sort of pathogen enter your body is the immune deficiency part. So same thing. Like we take all this protein, creatine, supplements, but if you're taking too many of them, it's not worth it. So you really got to pick and choose what this is that I want to get to, is that if you take all of them, you don't know which one is working, because if you stop one at a time, you don't know if that was the right one that's helping you, because you still could be benefiting. So if I take pre-workout protein, and then I have the Targo, and I take supplements every day, vitamins, whatever, you don't know if it's really helping you. So my suggestion to you would be to start with one. And the best way to regain muscle glycogen is to take a carbohydrate drink right after you work out. And the other day, Taylor said he feels Vitargo works because he wasn't taking it, and then he started taking it, and he saw a recovery and better workouts. So that tells me, this is just basic science, that one supplement made a difference. So go and get yourself some Vitargo. You don't need to get sick then. You have that built up. You know there's one supplement that you can have your health. You have nothing else in life. So everybody go get that mango Vitargo, like Taylor said, and make it happen. All right. We'll put a link down below, and you'll get 1% better in your training period, so that you trust in that process. You trust in your Vitargo, and it will help you.
You sound like that. That was like such teacher mode. I felt like right there.
That's the TED Talk for the day. All right. I'm just being real with you. I just went all sciencey.
Yeah.
I went salesman. I went real life experience, and gave you an example. I just want to let you know that. All right. Okay, we're gonna go to a quick ad. We'll be right back after the break. See, the Targo stuff's coming in now. Everybody's getting it. All right, let's go to definitions here, and then we'll jump into what they all are. First one, definition of trust. So trust is a firm belief in the reliability, ability, or strength of someone or something. Okay, so the example is relations have to be built on trust. So firm belief in the reliability or strength of someone or something. It's a good one. And the next one, definition of faith, is complete trust or confidence in someone or something, or a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. We got a lot of stuff to break down in here, I think. Where do you want to start? This could be mumble jumbled.
Doesn't matter to me.
I think we should start with, I think the biggest difference, so faith and trust. A lot of people think of spiritual context, like the God definition.
Yeah.
And I think people put trust in people, or they trust something will get done, or trust like to the process. So there's experience or somebody else has done it, and you believe that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think they kind of go hand in hand, but I also think that they're a little bit different. So, for instance, God, people would say yes or no. And I say, why? And then what do people say? Because I do.
Yeah.
There's not like a, go ahead.
I was thinking where they go into like their story, they're like kind of like come to Jesus story.
Yeah, but it's still not, they didn't physically see Jesus though, you know? I mean, they might have, I guess, but it's different than trust. So like, okay, who's the person you trust the most in your life? You can't say yourself. Because I think you should have, that should be number one.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
And we'll get, okay, fine, we can use that, whatever, we can use that. Why do you trust yourself?
Why?
Yeah, closest to yourself.
I think, yeah, and it's like everyone should trust themselves most.
But how do you know, like what builds that trust in yourself? You know yourself, obviously. But
what builds the trust?
Yeah.
In yourself?
Yes.
Taking risk. Seeing the outcome.
Explain.
Like, continuously want to relate it to working out, but like taking the risk of like maxing out, going up another few pounds and pushing it and seeing myself succeed. That builds self. Or taking like a trip, like I took the trip to Arizona last year by myself. Like I have to trust myself a lot. That's a challenging yourself a lot. And being by yourself and going to a different place in a new area. And that built a lot of trust, a lot of understanding within me. The trip I took by myself was a huge risk. And and then just be able to see how it felt, like if I'd be able to do it.
So it's getting out of your comfort zone, essentially, to take a trip by yourself.
Yeah. And I feel it's one way to build trust myself.
So you
or continuously building positive habits in myself.
So do you say you believed in yourself more when you got back from the trip because you know you can do another thing?
Yeah. It's like something that, like, I don't need certain people to go with me for me to experience life.
Yeah. So I think that's a good point, because I think a lot of the time so trust is something that you build or see in yourself, right? So you did it, you had the experience, and then it's like, okay, I trust myself more, right? You bench 185 pounds, then you believe, okay, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So next time you do it, it's like, I've already done this. But if you're trying to go to I don't know if I can do this, you might not have the faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because trust usually comes before faith, because you built that reputation with yourself or with whoever your relationship is with. So I think it's really easy to have trust before faith, because you see the trust and you build it, and you don't see faith. It's like believing without proof. So I think that's where they're a little bit different, is that faith is kind of second to first if we're talking about a specific relationship with somebody, unless you talk about the spiritual side. And that's back to my point where I say, do you believe in God? They say yes or no. They say why, and I say why. They say because I do, or they grew up with it, right? So your experiences obviously matter no matter what.
Like,
but why do we have faith when we have never seen or trusted? I guess without seeing it. How do we believe that?
How do we trust without seeing it?
Yeah, like how do we have the definition of faith was basically believing without seeing, right? So we're basically trusting in. You could say spiritual. Most people say spiritual, but I don't want to turn it all into spiritual. I want to turn it into just general day-to-day. How do you have faith that when you take that risk to go by yourself or to start a new job or to move away or whatever, how do you have faith that it'll be okay in the end on that risk? Because it could all go wrong. How do you have faith that it won't?
The future, I don't know, none of our business. Like I have faith because I don't need to really worry about tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like
me going on the trip, I was nervous in it, and that because you don't know what can happen. But at the end of the day, like, I knew, like, I was either gonna make myself better or I wasn't gonna make it back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna leave the airport. Like,
so you took your emotion out of it and didn't have to have that.
And yeah, so like I trust myself driving, and I have faith that other people won't hit me.
Yeah.
Like I trust I won't hit anyone. I have faith people won't hit me.
Yeah, I think that's a good example, because if you get on the road and every time you're stressed if somebody's gonna hit you or not, like that happened to me. I got in 2 car accidents in high school, and both accidents I was stopped at a stoplight. Like my car was not moving, and somebody rear-ended me both times. The second one, like I moved my car over because I saw them flying, so I just moved over a little bit, and they smashed the whole left side of my car. Guy actually went to jail. He was drunk and high, like 3 times over the legal limit for drinking, and then obviously marijuana was illegal at the time. So it was like after that, I didn't trust or have faith. See, I would say I didn't have faith because it's not a trust. I didn't trust other drivers because I had the experience.
Yeah.
But I also didn't have faith because I can't control the other drivers. But I was like, this already wake up. Yeah. Again, if you're stressed about that, like I would look at my rearview mirror all the time after that happened, because I thought it would happen again. So like I got to be ready, and so my car doesn't get hit for the 3rd time. And now it's like I don't think about it because I've built that, you know what, I can't control other people. If it hits my car, they hit my car, you know? So I think the less stress is really important. So for instance, especially when I was like growing up in stressful situations, the person I trust, because I know if I say, Mom, can you do this, this, and this, she'll say yes, and it takes it off my plate, and I don't have to think about it. So one, she's my mom, so I just naturally trusted her. That's not true for all people, I don't think, though. And two, we grew up in like a very religious household, so I had faith that I guess God would put me where I need to go. And now that's what I think about, kind of not having an idea of where my life might be going. So I just have faith that I'm on the right path and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Kind of like you said, if you go to Arizona by yourself and you either make it back or you don't. Like you have faith that, hey, you know what, if it's supposed to happen like this, it's supposed to happen. So I think it's really nice to take that stress out and just have somebody be reliable, whether that's a friend, that's a parent, that's a spouse, that's a spiritual figure. Really helps you live more of a joyful life because you're not stressed about the little things. I think that's a cool thing to have. Do you think you're better at faith or trust? Like, are you good at trusting people?
Probably too much.
Hey, yeah. Explain.
And I just feel like I just trust people right away that they're gonna do the right thing. They're not gonna do the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and
my grandpa's like that.
And then we're people, so we make wrong decisions, dumb decisions. But overall, I feel like right when I first meet someone, they have a lot of trust that I give them.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are you so open to people? Like, because mine depends on the person. Like if I'm doing let's say I start a new job, my coworker, I'm probably pretty trusting of because it's their job and I expect them to get it done. But I'm not going to tell them anything about my personal life that I feel like makes me vulnerable or they have something above my head because I don't know that person.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you be so trusting, I guess, is like how do you gain that trait, I guess?
I feel like I've always had it. I don't know. I really don't know. I've just always been in that. It's always just been there. Because then, like, especially in my work, now I've learned and the trusting people, but at work I used to get burnt a lot right at the beginning because I would just trust that kids would do the right thing, and now I know they don't. But at first, I got burnt all the time on just like thinking that people will do the right thing or people will like make good decisions.
Yeah.
And rarely does that happen. I don't know why, but I still say
that's what I was gonna say. So if kids, like for instance, I know kids are not gonna get stuff done at school as well.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know if it's to have faith that I don't care anymore. How do you keep caring, and how do you keep having faith? Like you had the experience, they've broken your trust over and over. Technically, that's what they've done, right?
Right.
How do you still have faith that they're going to get it done after 1,000 times? Like that takes a lot of energy to be like, oh yeah, they're still good kids. They're going to get it done.
You know what's crazy story? So kid, we had to go hands on with him and all that. And anyway, I ended up getting punched and kicked in the face. I think I said this on the last episode. But then we stood up, walked back. I made it, and then like the next day I made a goal with him because his headphones broke. And that too. Like to essentially change, do better.
Yeah.
But like right away, I made a goal with him. After this man just assaulted me, I still made a goal with him. I still like have that like belief that people can still be good.
So maybe it's like a desire.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not really a belief, but we change it to a desire.
Yeah.
The definition of desire, quick, because that's interesting to me.
So you're probably like wanting something.
Yeah, a strong feeling of wanting or to have something or wishing for something to happen. So maybe
That's it.
maybe a lot of times when we have faith, it's our faith is so strong because we desire it. Because really, faith is believing without seeing, right? Or what was the formal definition?
Yeah.
Complete trust or confidence. And there's no way you have complete trust or confidence after he's shown you a million times that he's going to get this, he's going to do things correctly, right?
Mm.
Maybe for a day, but overall he hasn't shown you anything different.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep that faith, this is so challenging because, like in the NFL, you just be cut. But
Yeah.
you putting all that time and effort into somebody, and I guess having that faith, even though they don't have it, it's because you desire. So
Yeah, maybe it's because I just don't like.
you think
Also, when that like they after a point repetitively people will show me like they want or trust that
to
like
do better?
yeah that I won't quit on them.
See, I wonder what the world would be like if. So if we just put some time and effort into people, I wonder what it would be like. But we're so into the now.
Right.
Like for instance, in the kicking world, if I see like there's a high school kid who I think could be really good, no matter if they suck or not, if I was a college coach, I would still sign them because I saw them personally and I believe that they're going to be better in a year or 2 years. They might never be. I might be wrong. We might not make it so-called in time.
Mm.
But I think once we get that belief in our brain, again, we talked last week how hard it is to change people's minds.
Yeah.
That's an example.
You know, also I have faith or trust in, and that my mom or even is that but hiring people off Craigslist.
Mhm.
Yeah, like they came like I had a few
Oh,
people
with
come
the
work on my car,
Yeah.
and people tell me all like, oh they're gonna rob you, they're gonna show you. And I'm like, if it happens, it happens. Like
Yeah. See, I'm not good at that kind of stuff because I'm not like like I said, I'm not a good trusting person unless
Yeah.
I know you. But I will say this: if I know of you, like for instance, it was probably 3 years ago now, Christian and Abby, you know, Nate's friends.
mm,
I stayed with Abby for a kicking camp in Arizona, so I had to pay for a very expensive hotel. And I've never met her. I was just like, hey, can I stay at your place? And she's just like, yeah, that's fine. And like she knew Nate, I knew Nate, so we were mutual like friends through him. But we had never met, so I think it's a little more trustworthy when you have somebody recommend them or you know of them in some sort.
know too, you know.
Yeah, it's not just a stranger that you're like Airbnbs, for instance. Now they have all these like ratings and reviews, but at the start, it's literally, hey, you want to stay at my house?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of sketchy to me.
There's a lot of trust. Uber drivers.
Yeah, yeah. And now it's just like, okay, you're putting a lot of faith in them. But I think to actually like build that relationship, like for instance, I stayed with, well now they're married, Christian and Abby, about a month and a half ago now. Actually it was only a month ago, in Phoenix again. And Christian and I had a great talk for like 2 hours. Like we were definitely building a relationship, and it was trustworthy because we were sharing ideas, stories, experiences, and we were making ourselves more vulnerable. Like, hey, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to do with my life. Here's where I think I'm at now. Like that's the kind of conversation that gets going deeper, right? Like my fiance and I, there has been 2 big changing, and they both were very long and emotional conversations about where we're at and what we need. So I think without those, we would not be where we're at. We'd either be way behind, I guess, where we are now, or we'd be separated because we didn't have, I guess, the guts to have the conversation. And a lot of times, another thing I was thinking about, this doesn't go with trust. It kind of goes with getting 1% better, though. A lot of the times, we say feelings, right? So we're on the phone. Let's say I'm talking to you on the phone, and I'm like, yeah. And then we just stay on the phone, like, anyways, or okay. Then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get my lunch ready now, even though I probably already have it ready. I need to say, you know what? All right, it's good talking to you. We don't have anything else to talk about. I'll talk to you later. Bye. But we always beat around the bush, you know? So that doesn't build a relationship or build the trust. That just goes off of, it's not a lie, but it doesn't build like you have their back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're not being real with them.
Yeah.
I think that was just an interesting.
It just comes with like confidence in yourself too, and trust.
Yeah, I totally agree. Here's kind of a loaded question. You got something else?
I do, but it's okay that you go with your question.
Okay, I was gonna say, why is having trust or faith important, or knowing the difference between them? How does that bring?
Does it bring value?
Yeah, what's the value of getting 1% better?
I'm just thinking about all the value of faith on like such a broad basis. If it's just taken in like spiritual context, like the believing in God. Whether God exists or doesn't exist, believing in Him takes almost zero effort. And therefore, like,
I wouldn't say zero effort. I would say it takes some effort, but
okay.
You can't be harmed by believing.
Yes, I guess that's what I was saying. It's like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like in building or having a relationship with something or someone you've never seen before nor heard, and that physically touched, and that at the end of your life, like you're gonna die at some point. So like,
what's next?
Yeah.
So
that puts you in a perspective of dying and just dying, going to hell life. You really like can't say like, not for me.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna roll the dice over here.
Yeah. What I tell people, so I believe like if you have some sort of faith, I think that you have an extra like sense of you. There's something more about you. Not to say that it's bad to not have that. I just think they're missing something.
And when you have faith on just a spiritual level, and so therefore your emotions are
also temporary.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say more enlightened.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're going off of.
Yeah.
And that's why like people always like, I feel like people are such in touch with their faith. I wouldn't say I'm at that point, and I feel like I've been on a roller coaster. I'm a little bit farther down. But there's some people.
I wouldn't say farther down because I learned a lot about that. There is no
farther down.
There is no scale. Correct.
But anyway, there's like some people that really like, I don't want to say on fire, but really have a set like.
They care more about what God would think of them rather than what the world thinks.
And then like people are like, they want that.
Yeah.
And then really that's like they're chasing them because they feel empty and they're chasing that like fullness. And
it's very challenging, I feel like, to get to that because literally like Buddhism, that's literally what you're trying to reach is enlightenment. You know, it's so challenging. What I always tell people as well is like people who I'm like trying to talk to faith about. It's not like talking about faith, and I love it because I think it's a great conversation to have. But one, I think they're more kind of enlightened, yes. But also, I always say, if you believe in God and He's not real, nothing bad can happen, right? You die, you just go in the ground, right?
But you lose.
Yep. But if there is a God and you don't believe, and you have heaven versus hell, then you are gonna wish you believed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like you can't go wrong by believing in God. You really can't. If you put your faith and you still discern, and we'll go this in another episode with discerning, but if you trust, because even though you can't see God, you have experiences with God if you look, right? So you still have that faith or that trust. I mean, you believe because you have some sort of an experience, like you said, the come to Jesus moment earlier. So you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
What was I don't even remember my original question. Oh, why it brings value, right?
Yeah. It brings value. Kind of like trusting your next step, like the ground is still going to be there.
Exactly, and you have to make that decision no matter what. But if you feel like you've had a direction to go, it's a lot easier to make that decision. Even if you're going in blindly, it's easier to make that decision when you feel like someone's behind you. And another thing I want to say is, so I'm much on that earlier. I'm good at trust once I make myself vulnerable, because I think being vulnerable is super important. I think that's a good way to build. But I'm really good at faith. One, I was like, I guess, privileged as a kid, and I kind of like saw like what more faith can bring me, I guess.
What a good relationship was.
Yeah, that's a great point. What a good relationship was or should look like. But I'm bad at trust and good at faith because I want to do everything by myself. I want to control everything. I'm not very good at letting go of control, so it's hard for me to trust that people will get it done and for me to be patient enough to get it done. Because again, I have that desire to do whatever it is, right? So if people don't meet my expectations, that makes it really hard for me to trust them because things aren't getting done or they're not up to my vision is. So I struggle with the trust of things like that. It doesn't even mean like they're a good person or a bad person. It's just more so.
It's just a mentality.
I mean, yeah, that's a good way to put it. A mentality. And I also, because on the flip side, I firmly believe, like let's say somebody murdered somebody. I firmly believe that they could have just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Like I believe those people still can go to heaven if they feel like they're sorry. That's the thing. Kind of like you with the kids. Obviously, if they're not sorry, then it's a different story. But
yeah.
So I'm way better at faith because I know God will never do anything wrong. So it's easy for me to just be like I grew up with it, and I've had those little God moments. Talked to a lot of people, so I have those little moments of trust, and I just have that faith. And again, I don't want to have the stress, so I just see, okay, you take it. Now, worldly, that's way harder than it is on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like to not be in the world and be more like what God said. But I think each path, so it's interesting.
So why not make it the best path?
Heck yeah.
And that's what.
I'm
trying to think, there's like a quote, or I heard it somewhere, where it's like always take the risk, always shoot your shot. And that, like, take the job, ask the girl out, ask the guy out.
Yeah, it was on a podcast. I heard that too.
And that, because, like, at the end of the day, you are.
Yeah.
Even if you miss.
Yeah.
I was like, that's such a good mantra.
Sorry, I hit the button actually. I got your mantra and then I hit the button actually. I totally agree though. Because I was listening, and I doubt it was the same podcast, but I was listening to this thing too, and how there's a couple things. One, worldly, don't think about that. Like she works out in the middle of Central Park, like doing weird stuff. Like who cares what you look like? So I'm turning that into my faith. Like who cares what other people think? What does God think? You know, that's one thing to build that trust, and not only like believe in yourself, but also like your faith. Because I mean, we said usually trust comes before faith. It's a lot easier to trust and then have faith. It's also a lot easier to break trust than faith. When you have faith, like you said, the kids, this is going off tangent here.
Good.
But I think it brings good value. So you said earlier about the kid, oh, this kid always does something wrong. But you still have faith that he's going to make it right, no matter what. You desire that to happen, and you want him to do it. You just want him to see that, you know?
Yeah.
but it's way easier to break the trust. Like, let's say there's another kid and he did something wrong and you're like, maybe not, right? So once that person's trust is broken, it's hard to gain back. But the faith, it's hard to break. It's even more hard to get back, I think. Once again, due to experiences. So if you had that one bad apple, you're like not coming back.
Right.
But anyways, what did you say before I got on my tangent with the mantra?
There's a good mantra to live by.
Yeah, what was the thing before that I went on my tangent about just now?
It was essentially like always live life in like a.
Oh yeah. So another podcast they say like I've always struck out, right? And 101 I found my wife. So if you never take that risk, you're not going to do anything. Like you can't ever grow if you're not vulnerable or take risks. And that's what I think is most important. And it's really hard to grow a faith or have faith in somebody if you don't do anything to grow it. Right? Us doing this podcast was essentially a risk. Right? We have to grow our relationship. We have to grow our technology methods. We have to trust that we're doing the right thing, and it might not happen overnight. There's a lot of different things that go along with it. But if we believe in the process and that we're doing the right thing, eventually it'll work out, I think that's just an interesting topic. Also, yeah, I kind of hit there's trust and faith. Another thing I would say for trusting is it depends on how they go about it. Okay, so if, for instance, faith that you have this kid's going to do good. If he doesn't trust that you're doing the best things for him, for his benefit, then you're never going to get the results you want, even though you're faithful for him forever. You know what I mean? So, for instance, I had a soccer coach in like 13, 14, 15 years old who totally believed in me. So let me do basically whatever I felt necessary to, I guess, shoot the ball, score, whatever. Go to the tournaments I think would benefit us. Like we literally went to a tournament because I was like, we got to go here. And he had full-fledged faith in me. I responded a lot better to him than another coach I had later. There's no room for you here, So it depends on how they go about building that trust. I'm not very good at people who yell at me and say, do this, do that. I'm more of a like, hey, what do you think we need here? Or having a say or feeling more power and control or showing me that they care rather than being like, this is how it's done, either get in or get out.
Yeah.
And other people are the opposite, right? So I think the way people go about building that trust matters in the relationship. That being said, the $1 million answer from me with trust versus faith is that you need both. What a cop-out answer. I think you have to build trust before you have that faith, unless it's something you desire. Then I think that faith's there, and you got to look for people that you feel like you can trust. Because sometimes you're going to get burned, but if you have that faith and you feel like you're doing the right thing, it will work out in the end. Clip that sucker. That was a great value piece right there.
How do you build faith and trust?
Great question. Well, I've talked about vulnerability. Other people, though, scientists, professionals, have other things that they say. And keep in mind, we're talking two different contexts usually, right? Usually faith is more spiritually based, and trusting is there's proof or there's been a lineage of some sort that has grown that or made it disappear, right? So that's just something to think about. I also think you need balance for both of them. I think a little bit they go hand in hand. based on your experiences and other things in life. But first of all, I kind of hit on this is from Psychology Today. They say to say what you mean and mean what you say. For instance, the phone call example that we gave. If I got to do something, I'm just done talking to you. I got to say, like, I got to be real with you rather than saying, yeah, okay, yep. And then next thing you know, you don't get anything done. Right? You got to be real with somebody. And you need to back it up. Did you say, yeah, this, and this, and this, and then 3 weeks later, you're still saying, oh, yeah, I do this, you know? Like, that doesn't show, I guess, very good trust.
You say one thing and then I
do that. Yeah. I mean, that's just common sense right there. Talked about vulnerability. This one I think you're really good at, and I'm not. Is to remember the role of respect. Because once again, if they don't hit my expectations, I'm not very patient in that. And I'm not very good. No, background for audience. I'm not very good at explaining my vision very good. Like I can't implore that to others as clean as I would like. I'm getting better at that, especially in teaching, so I can explain directions. But my vision is so vivid, and it's easy to disappoint me because I have the expectations, but I can't put them on the others. Whereas I think you're more patient with people and more understanding of their situation, less judgmental, which I'm trying to work on. You're just a little more, I guess, of a calm presence.
Yeah, very much so. And with me, people, it's very hard to get like someone to rile me up or get me out of like, I don't know, my calm state, my neutral state. Because it's just, I don't know, I really don't know when it happened. Like, I really started paying attention, but like, it wasn't worth affecting my day on someone else's actions.
Yeah. Everything is good.
And so with that, like, I caught myself the other day, and that like, so it's right before this kid had kind of like shut down. I was with a different group of kids, and I was like trying to get them to motivate so we get back with the big group. And there's this one kid, and I'm like, come on, you come. And then he said, oh, I thought I had to stay there. And then I asked him, I was like, okay, go get lined up at the door. He goes and lines up at like, not the door. I was like,
see, Ivy's over. I traded.
And I was like getting like not mad, but I was like, this kid's like messing with me. Mm-hmm. I was like, this kid cannot be serious right now.
Yeah, you know, you'd be surprised.
And then I was like, I could see myself like not getting, kind of getting frustrated almost, but like I like wasn't there. Yeah. But I was like, no way, this kid is like just like not mentally processing like what's happening.
Like, how can you think of that? Like, why wouldn't you go to
like when like cause like I was kind of like in a rush to get back, and he was like slow and like doing things not like. It's like weird. He's like doing the opposite of what was being told him. And he was like,
again, when you're in a rush, though, nobody's going fast enough for you.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it's weird. I was like, this kid's definitely gotta be.
Yeah. I would have been like, see, yeah, you probably handled that. I would have been like, dude, what are you doing? Be a little more calm, but you probably handled it a lot better than I would have. You probably
I just waited for him, and then I was like, okay, we're going up this door. I was like,
yeah.
And then he kind of walked in front, and I was like, okay, that's the end of it. I just thought that.
Yeah. See, you give the next one is to give benefit of the doubt. I'm not very good at that, but I'm working on it, especially with the equity in school. Like, this kid might be late to class because he literally has to work for his family, and I'm not great at meeting people where they're at because I'm like full. You take goal setting, I'm extreme. We've talked about this a bunch, right? So whatever. So my new thing right now that I'm really big on is
approach.
Well, approach is something that I need to work on, and I think that's been a good. No, So this whole season's about like influence, right?
Yeah.
I think approach is something I've been learning through our podcast episodes, and we're gonna learn that a little bit more in a couple episodes coming up, I think. But not so much approach, but I was gonna say more of the, like I said, just had more experience of equity and meeting people where they're at based on what they're trying to do. Even though I'm such a goal person, so for instance, right now I've been trying to plan our honeymoon. We're going to take a little trip. I want to hit a bunch of bucket list things, right? Because I'm never going to do them again. I want to cross this bucket list off. I've always been about that. But one of my things is there's like 159 UN countries or something. I want to go to all of them. As crazy as that sounds, I do everything in my power to make it happen. People are like, this is dumb, this is dumb. Like, I'm going to hit it, right? Nobody's going to stop me. So if you get in my way, watch out. Like, I just have faith it's going to happen. But I've been trying to have more, like, openness to meet my own situation where I'm at. Okay, I'm not rich. I can't go to all these countries, right? I got to meet myself where I'm at. Okay, my fiance, who will be my wife, can she take, there's other things I need to do in my life as well. It's humbling, really, to be like, hey, I can't do all this. And really learning to meet people where they're at based on their circumstances and be okay with it. Remember when I travel, I'm always like, we got to hit everything because I'm never coming back. I got more places I want to go. And then this summer, literally everywhere I tried to go, we had to go back to IRL. I had to go back to Key West. I got to do all this stuff over again because I couldn't hit something because something went wrong. Mm-hmm. So instead of me being angry about it, I just let it go. Again, the stress factor. And it's still an experience, still something I can talk about.
Exactly.
So it's people, yeah. So I'm trying to meet people where they're at and use that in my own experience. It's really easy if you use it on yourself before you use it on others. It'll be portrayed a lot more clean, just like the vision I'm talking about, onto others. So that's something, not really my approach necessarily, but just more of meeting people where they're at, which is kind of like giving the benefit of the doubt. Maybe a lot more joyful too.
We went in the fall, didn't we?
Yeah, that's why we're going in the spring this time.
Yeah.
So we get both experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to talk about how building trust comes, like, that's why I asked about approach. I think approach, how you, like, kind of like how, like, you're talking about how, like, the approach of your coaches differed on your outcome.
Oh, yeah.
And I was saying, like, that builds trust or loses trust.
One point quick. I guarantee you neither coach thought about the outcome. That's just like their personality or what they did, right? So if they can, then I think it's a lot easier to get to that outcome. But they're building that trust.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, go by this turn is fine.
All right.
They can. Congratulations, though. That's awesome.
Sorry
I was not there to take pictures.
That's all good.
Did those send, by the way? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Some of them are, yeah.
We forward them on to everyone.
But the ones we read, yeah, we couldn't get it. The pictures. Long story short is there was a bunch of trees, and then Kayla saw us, and then Will got down. It was literally like 10 seconds he was down, and I was trying to run up. I took a picture of the ground. I deleted it. He didn't know. So I was trying to run up and get the pictures.
You know, if you take a video, you can go and take pictures back through.
Yeah, but it was like, I don't think you understand how hard the process was to get through the trees.
That was like a fork, and so they went down like one
Yeah.
side of the fork, but then there's trees all in the middle.
Because Kayla looked back.
Run back.
Yeah, Kayla looked back, so we're just like, oh, we're just act like we're going to the beach. Maybe she didn't see who we were. She just looked out of the corner of her eye.
Yeah. I tried looking down here, but I didn't realize what all of it was.
Then we're like, we're just going to the beach. Hopefully Will saw us too. Next thing you know, Will's down. I'm like, uh-oh. I run up trying to take the picture.
I thought you guys could go down that way. I'm like, I don't know what to do, because I mean, you can't really get a good shot. I'm like, you need to come back.
You should have just said, Austin, come right here for a second. And then he gets down.
And then go.
Yeah, at that point I knew what was
But then we had them redo it, and we took pictures, and then those ones, the sunset's right there, so that actually looks pretty
Yeah, it's pretty stunning.
Yeah.
Is your raccoon?
Yeah.
Or-
Raccoon River.
I put your clothes in and I threw my sweatshirt in there.
Okay, do you
It
put
had
it in,
some Tide Pod.
did you put it in cold? Okay. Just making sure. Sweet.
I don't remember what we're talking about on here.
Yeah. I need. We're just go to the next one. All right. See you guys later. Yeah, and I think that that kind of goes along with number 6, is to like number 6 is to express your feelings functionally, especially when it's tough, right? So if their approach is, then it's a lot easier to build that trust and have that vulnerability like we talked about earlier, rather than not have the relationship and just cutthroat. So then when they express their feelings, like I say, I don't express them very good, like the vision, it's not very functional. So I need to work on that, but I'm doing it through being more meaningful where they're at. Not necessarily approach, it's just where they are, I just live with it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus in your example, I think you're talking about like building that relationship with the approach, and then you get out, like you said, what you put in. So you're not thinking about the outcome, but you approach it so that you get the outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, and I was also kind of like talking about like building trust is with like the approach, and that like some kids are more, or some people, and that need more attention.
Yeah.
And that need more guidance than others, and that.
Yeah.
And so like having different approaches to different people and being able to navigate those and just having a wider ability of your like personality and everything is very helpful.
Yeah.
When it comes to the outcome in helping people. And
I agree.
And then within that, it builds trust. Especially if you're coming at a kid or a person that when you're approaching them the right way, or the way that they best react to the approach or whatever, and that the trust automatically is being built there.
Yeah. Number 6, we've already talked about a lot to build trust in a relationship. That was to take a risk. And then the last one, number 7, is to be willing to give as well as receive. So I think let's talk your approach example here. As long as you're putting forth the effort and then they're reciprocating that, again, that's when relationships totally grow, or you get the outcome you both are looking for in terms of a team, right? It's like being a leader. So I think, go ahead.
I agree.
I was gonna say, I think in my life right now, the biggest thing I think about is my selfishness in my relationships. When I give more, it ends up flowing a lot better. Right? Then I don't got to worry about people being mad at me. I don't got to worry about what's going on, because the only is that something's missing in my life, and if I can live with that, that's a lot easier than having somebody else have to miss something in their life.
Right.
And if you start having that like more compromising stuff, then it's a lot easier to both get kind of what you want, and everybody can live with it. And then it's a lot better flow. And in the end, like let's say I need to do an extra workout someday. My relationships, whoever I'm supposed to do something with, will hopefully understand that, hey, we'll make this up another time, or we'll figure it out, that this is important right now, that you can do that. Whereas if you never follow through, you never give, you only get, then it's going to be like, okay, this person's not really like for me right now.
Right.
So it's a lot harder to build that relationship.
Parallels of today is insane. My fortune cookie from today says the act of giving is more important than receiving.
That's funny. We had a fortune cookie. Got Chinese like 3 weeks ago, and my and Steph's cookie was the same fortune.
Really?
Yep.
Did it come true?
I don't even remember what it was. We threw it away because it was the same. Like they copied it, so I was mad. But
Or it's time.
we thought I was gonna say if Dad's, because my parents were here. I was like, if Dad says this too, then it definitely means something. Jibber jabber, placebo effect stuff. Anyways, anything else on faith and trust until we get to 1440 this week?
That's all I got.
All right, challenge for this week. We're gonna make a change a little bit. It's gonna be really simple this week. Just get vulnerable. Ask a friend. Ask somebody else. Ask a coworker. Somebody you coach. Somebody you get coached by. Ask someone this week what you could gain. What you could do to gain their trust. Why are you a trustworthy person? Why are you not? What do they look for in trust? Have a conversation about trust and just be open about it, right? Take that risk, be vulnerable, give, get, and that's a good start to build a relationship right there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you need to work in a team at work, especially if you're in an organization, like a sports team.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff helps you gel.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll end it at that. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Hopefully you tune in for the 1440 on Thursday, and have a great week, and we'll catch you later.
Love you. Bye.